welcome to the NFT Jungle. I am Emma, aka Nifty Meta Girl, and today I'm going to share another collection update with you. As you know, over the last several weeks, we've entered into a bear market in the NFT space, and so we've also seen a huge increase in the number of editions that are available, and that has also led there to be the discussion as to whether one-of-one art still is going to be popular or still being collected in the NFT space. And I realized over the last several weeks, I've actually collected 25 one-of-one pieces, and some of the highlights of my collection, in my opinion. It's really fun as you look back through the pieces that you've collected, remembering the stories behind them and connecting with them again. And so I really enjoyed putting the details together for this video, and I'm excited to share with you. Just for the sake of time, we're going to break up the 25 pieces into 2 different episodes, so please be sure to tune in for this second as well. But I'm really excited to share with you some of the pieces that I've collected, talk about the artists and the collections, and hopefully you may find something that connects with you as well. And so the first piece I'd like to talk about is actually a street piece that is from a collection called Walking in the Night. The artist is Chaara. And the piece that I've collected is called Child's Play and the Homeless. And this collection, I really love so many of the pieces. It tells such an interesting story. And the intro for the collection states that it was taken during the pandemic in Brussels, and it really highlights how the nightlife was impacted by the pandemic. And so Chaara had taken these images starting in January of 2022. And it really just highlights, still some of the remnants of the pandemic and how it affects people and how they interact. And I just found that to be something that we can all connect with. And in this particular image, I really loved the colors and the setting. I found that I really do enjoy nighttime photography and just the colors and the reflection and all the feeling that is created, especially in this image. And you can see that there's a family walking past an art gallery, and there's a little girl playing out in front of her family. And you'll notice that there's a gentleman sitting there in front of the window, and the description of the piece states that he's actually a homeless man, and he's receiving charity from the gallery owner by having a blanket and kind of looking after him. And so it was something that there's so many interesting details, where the little girl, she's still playful and in her own world, which is so refreshing, even though the adults are quite still aware of the pandemic and the challenges faced there. But I also found it really heartwarming that even in a time where so many were struggling, the gallery owner still was showing hospitality to the homeless man. And, that reminder of humanity, that even when things are tough, we're still looking out for one another and taking care of one another. But I really enjoyed this piece a lot. I love the colors, but I just love the story captured there too. And there's so many of those moments around us, and it kind of is that reminder that even when things are tough, the element of humanity is still so important. But I hope that you'll check out this collection. There's a total of 20 items in the collection, and so far there's 5 owners, and they're priced at 0.085. And over the last few weeks, Chaara has also released several individual images that are editions, and so there are some really interesting images available that he has released as well. But I am really a fan of Chaara's work. He does a lot of street photography, and he does a really nice job with colors and capturing images. So yeah, I really like this piece a lot. And another collection that I would like to highlight that I collected next is a similar theme as far as nighttime and rainy weather. But this is a really beautiful collection called Umbrella Stories, and the artist is Millier. And there were 44 pieces released in this collection, and this is the Genesis collection of Ryan's. And this is a beautiful collection. There's some varied images throughout, so it's based based in the city, and it's some are rainy images. We have some steam. There's also some snowy images. So I really loved that all of the seasons were covered, and there's still a common theme throughout the entire collection of umbrellas. However, we get to see them in different settings, different people, and different seasons. I also love each of the pieces are actually named after a person in the image. So I kind of loved that personal connection that he included in the pieces. But the collection description details that Ryan has utilized street photography as a form of escape throughout the past decade of his career, exploring the city streets and creating imagery that transports the viewer elsewhere. And Ryan discovered a quiet poetry in the rain, the reflection of the lights off of the cold pavement, illuminating the dark streets filled with steam from the sewers below. And I really loved that description. But it also says he displays his iconic style throughout the 44 photographs that represent a shift in his career when things started to finally work out in his favor on a rainy day of all places. And Ryan has worked with companies like Adidas, Jaguar, Jordan Brand, Puma, Xbox, Hypebeast, Complex, and the Wall Street Journal. So has a lot of professional work out there. But this was a really great collection. All 44 pieces actually sold out in a matter of 4 hours, which was really exciting. But I was able to collect 29 Dexter and number 10 Ming. And with 29 Dexter, that's this beautiful snowy image, and I just loved the vintage feel to it. The woman walking across the street there, but just such a beautiful snowy scene. And number 10 Ming actually caught my eye when I first saw the collection. It was the first piece I purchased, and part of it was just because it's so stark and sharp, and it was cinematic, and it really stood against some of the other pieces in the collection. And so the uniqueness really made me really gravitate to it. So both pieces kind of tell a different story or have a bit of a different feel, but I really like both of them so much. And this has been an exciting collection too, with it having so much immediate success. It also had 12 secondary sales over 1 ETH each. So it was great to see it take off and be so well received. And one notable collector is there's number 1, Isaac, was collected by Drift, and he had paid 2.49 ETH for it. So really interesting to see how the collection developed and was received by the community, and congratulate Ryan on the success. And he does have a new collection coming out very soon. It was planned to drop in June. However, with the market being what it is, they've postponed slightly, but it's called Probably Something. So that's going to be one to watch for sure. And another collection, street photography collection that I collected from is called NYC 365 Journey to the Unexpected. And the photographer is Barry Sutton. And this was a great collection. And in the description, it states that more than a documentary record of New York City, NYC 365 is a fantastical view of the beauty, contrast, grit, glow, and rhythm of the city, full of surrealism, abstractism, impressionism, cubism, and realism. All the major art movements seem to be represented by one photographer in one grand collection of photography of this magnificent city. And this was a really fun project because it was actually a blind mint. And so for the primary, you went to the website and you minted an image, and you didn't know what it was going to actually be until the reveal, which I love that excitement, that added appeal. There was also obviously some teasers ahead of time, so you had some idea of, kind of the subject matter, but it just made it that much more fun. And there was also some Easter egg items throughout, so there's some collages throughout, some videos throughout, which made it extra fun as well. And I really love the 2 pieces I ended up with, which one is called Masked, and it is this gentleman dressed up like a leopard. So I'm sure there's a really fun story behind it. The other one is Skyline from Manhattan, but it's an image taken of the city skyline from the Manhattan Bridge. And I just love the black and white and the gritty feel to it. You just are kind of transported to that moment. And when you look throughout the collection, there's just so many moments captured, and it really gives you that feeling of living in the city, of being there, and these random daily things happening that just catch your eye and are, that Barry has done such a great job of capturing and, and putting on the blockchain. And it's been really fun to get to know Barry a little bit better in this space. He's been photographing for 30 years, and he photographs youth culture, musicians, celebrities, and fashion. And he's done this in London, New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. And he's actually the founding member of 96 Studio, which is collaborating to bring notable photographers onto the blockchain and into the NFT space. And so I've really enjoyed becoming a part of that community and learning more about Barry and also the artists that he's passionate about bringing into the NFT space. So yeah, it's been a really fun collection, and that's one of the cool things too. You have that opportunity in the photography space to connect with an original collection, but then also meet the artists and the people behind it, and kind of seeing, what world that kind of opens you up to. And so I'll be sharing another collection that Barry actually brought online through 96 Studio in the next episode with the Woody Gooch, which I absolutely love. So please stay tuned for that one as well. And another piece that I've collected during this time period is from a photographer who's become a really close friend of mine. Her name is Lyndsay, and she is the lady in the yellow dress. This is becoming an iconic series and something that Sarah is really passionate about, and I'm really proud of the job that she's been doing with it. But this particular piece is called Milford, and it is obvious it's this beautiful image of her in her yellow dress, and this image is actually taken in New Zealand, and it's from her Dear Dreamer 3 series, which is going to be the final series in her Dear Dreamers. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And this is the smallest of the 3 collections. There's only 4 images in this particular collection, and each of them is of her in the yellow dress. But this is really the beginning of her, her career and passion that she is going to carry throughout. And the story behind this particular image, it was taken in January of 2020 as Sarah was traveling through New Zealand with a friend, and this was her first self-portrait image that she took with the yellow dress. But it was also her first time traveling internationally, and so I know Sarah has shared that there's a lot of great memories associated with this particular piece. But for me, I connected with it a lot because I love the mossy rocks there on the creek bed and the beautiful image in the background. And growing up, I spent a lot of time also on a creek bed, and so I kind of felt that connection to the piece there. But I really feel honored to have the first image that she had taken in the yellow dress as she's starting this iconic journey. And this image was also recently her first piece to be shared in a gallery space, as it was featured in NFT NYC at the Super Chief Gallery. So it's really, really cool to have that connection with Sarah, and it's been great to connect with her and be along seeing her on her journey as she's progressing. And I do own a few other pieces from her, but this was my first piece in her yellow dress. So again, I'm a huge supporter of Team Yellow Dress and happy to be along with her. So with this collection, it has been collected. There's only 4 pieces within the collection, and there are 3 owners currently. And another strong female photographer in the space that I am happy to have collected from recently is Yulia Denisyuk. And Yulia is actually an award-winning travel photographer, and she works on assignments around the world and has been featured in National Geographic and several other publications. And I've come to know Yulia in the space through her photography, but also her passion for storytelling and also representing women in the NFT space. And so it's really been a delight to get to know her better, and also just to see her support and her excitement for the space. But with this is her Genesis collection. It's called Solitary Journeys, and it highlights 10 iconic places that she has been throughout her career, and places that mean a lot to her. And I really love the personal touch that she brings to the art that she has minted, and also the stories. And you can just really feel like the connection she has with the images and the stories that she is telling. But this particular collection, this particular collection has 10 items, and there's 3 owners so far in the collection. But the description included states this collection blurs the lines between street, documentary, travel photography, and art. Every photograph represents a relationship between movement and stillness. My subjects are either on the verge of transitioning to the next scene or being still in the moment. They are brushstrokes of light passing through life. These frozen moments of time are like still frames from an old movie. Blink and they'll disappear forever. And I love that she is able to find beauty and wonder in the everyday moments. When you first look at these images, they might seem like something that is ordinary. However, when you read the descriptions and the connections that she makes, it opens up to a whole nother scene. And I collected Smooth Landing. And the reason that I connected with this piece is because we see a lot of images of the Cappadocia area in Turkey, but usually we see images where they're taken from above or an angle that is showing a huge scene, and you can see the balloons out across the skyscape, and it's always beautiful images. However, I just love that this captured the kind of the behind the scenes and what's really happening when you're there, and getting that moment of getting to really feel the energy and feel what it's like to be a participant. And so it was the first time I've actually seen that side of what goes on there. And really, I just loved, like she had said, it's, the verge of transitioning to the next scene. And so, again, I felt like it was a great representation of Yulia's work, and I'm really happy to have this piece of my collection. I love the colors that she includes throughout all of her pieces, and just also the storytelling and the care that she gives to representing the areas that she's in. And she does have an edition set that I had actually included in the most recent edition episode, so you can check that one out as well. But also, Yulia is doing a weekly newsletter for supporting women in the NFT space, and I just got to do an interview with her last week on her podcast that she does weekly, on her Twitter space that she does weekly, highlighting women in the NFT space. And so she is definitely one to watch as she's making a big impact in the space. Another photographer who is very active in the space and someone that I have really enjoyed getting to know better is Sammya Brata, and he is a photographer, a award-winning street photographer, but he also does these beautiful images called dip pics. And I talked about this in our most recent edition episode as well, because he's releasing a series, and over the next foreseeable future, he will be releasing 100 images in this style that will be part of his iconic and his legacy edition series. However, this is one of his one-of-one pieces, and this is from a collection called In It Together, and it was actually a collaboration between 5 other artists in the space, so 6 total. And with this collection, the description included is as a one-of-a-kind initiative where F. Delic Yulia, Jordan Banks, Leslie Spurlock, Sammya Brata Mulek, Subodh Shetty, and Pascalis Seraphim join hands in oneness to mark the beginning of a journey with the aim of working towards shared goals. Just like the drops of water make the mighty ocean, these artists from different parts of the world have formed this collective to portray and honor the truth, power, and harmony that is found in compassion and togetherness. And I love the initiative behind this collection and really what they were coming together for, but also each of these artists are making huge contributions to the space in their own right. So it was really exciting to see the 6 of them come together and have the opportunity to collect from this collection. Each of the images throughout the collection are black and white, which is unusual for some of the artists that are involved. But it was great to see them each put their own spin on the theme of In It Together, and also being able to support others in the community with the results of this collective. collective. And so the piece that I collected is called Number One Liberation. And the story included is just really, really beautiful. Sammya is a master at descriptions and the quality of how he actually curates his pieces, whether it's a one-of-one piece or an edition. The job that he does with writing his descriptions, the properties, everything is just phenomenal. But with this particular image, you can see the child that is stuck behind the bars and the feeling of being, isolated. And it really touches on, people, the hardships of being in the slums and the things that are going on outside of those with those that are more fortunate. But also pairing this image. So there's actually two images paired together to create this one image. And so you also have the top image that show the wings and the message of hope. And I really loved that Sammya said that this diptych has been named as liberation since it talks about our inner zeal to break all barriers and hold on to the wings of ambition to address those unfulfilled desires. And that really connected with me, and it really shows, that really sums up this entire image. And it also really connects with the theme and the overall mission of this collection in it together. So I really love having this piece in my collection. It's the first piece that I actually was able to collect from Sammya, even though I've been a fan of his for quite some time. But really, really happy to be a part of this collective. And they do have the plan to also create additional series in the future. So it's one to be watching for sure. And then the other image that I have collected in this time is called Frozen in Time, and it's from The Other Side of the Story, and the artist is Harley Appezzato. And this is a collection that was minted on Silica, and it actually includes just 6 items. And again, this is another collection that is a street photography collection, and many of the images also include umbrellas. So this has been a theme lately, and also being taken in the rain. But this is a collection of the side no one knows about Sydney, Australia. This is from the collection description. The rain breathes a new life into the city and creates my personal happy place, a place I'd rather be, thinking about a life I'd rather live. These photos are subject and cityscape focused, showing what it is like to be in a city at its most emotional and calming moments from the streets. They hold a deep connection to how I feel outside photography and in my day-to-day life. I hope you can find a connection in these photos as well. And it's a really beautiful collection. There are a lot of images that you can just connect with. This particular image is a little bit darker than some of the others in the collection, but I really love the neon and the lighting in the image. I just felt like it was really, really beautiful. And the description included says, the city doesn't waste a second, but this encapsulates everything I love about the city in one frame, a moment of never-ending saved. And Harley did a really great job throughout this series of explaining, a little bit of details about why these images were significant to him. And each of them were just really, really beautiful. So I'm happy to be one of the collectors. There's 5 owners in the 6 items. And currently the floor price is 0.25. But again, this was originally minted on Silica. However, it is available on secondary on OpenSea. But that was another collection that in my gallery, as I'm building it out, I'm noticing that I have maybe enough for a full gallery of umbrella and rainy day images. And I have a few more to share with you of one-of-one pieces, and then also several editions to share with you as well that fit this theme. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this comes together. And that's part of the fun of collecting, is as your gallery grows, you get to kind of see ones that you're really drawn to and develop, that understanding of what images you connect with and explore maybe why that may be. But these were 12 of the 25 images that I have collected recently, especially during this bear market. And I will go ahead and include the additional 12 in the next episode, so I hope you stay tuned. But also, I want to just say thank you to those involved in the MetaJungle community. We're always learning and growing together, and I hope that this will be encouraging for those that are wondering if there is space for one-of-ones in this bear market and also this edition season. And I look forward to sharing the next 12 with you. So thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you soon.